We are living in a very dangerous time, and Barack Obama's doctrine has sought to appease the enemies of Israel while placing Israel's national security at risk. Since its creation, Israel has been under a constant state of attack from its neighbors. No nation on earth has had to endure this or would ever tolerate it, so no nation has the right to demand that of Israel. Iranian regime has stated it intends to destroy Israel, hoping that the rest of the world will leave Israel to fend for itself. The possible result in the extent of casualties resulting from such a military engagement are unimaginable. As unpleasant as it is to name names and assign responsibility, difficult times dictate that principled people must act with courage. There already is a two-state solution in place, and it is called Israel and Jordan. Not only is President Barack Obama not a true friend of Israel, but his right-hand woman, Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, is his enabler and being thoroughly disingenuous about the level of animosity President Obama has held towards Israel throughout his presidency. Actions speak louder than words. Time and again in the Middle East, Obama has engaged with adversaries who threaten Israel's existence daily. The Muslim Brotherhood, the Iranian regime. The Obama administration has destroyed our nation's credibility and sided with regimes that do not have Israel's best interests in mind. The Obama administration has changed our policy towards Israel from one of strategic ally to one of neutrality, placing our relationship with Israel on a par with every other nation in the Middle East, including those rogue regimes that actively sponsor terrorism. That means we will abandon Israel to its own defense if it were to be attacked, which invites its enemies to commit aggression against it, seeing that we may not offer it military assistance. This reckless policy change is proof positive of this administration's willful contempt of Israel, its sovereignty, and its national security. President Obama's recently demands that Israel must concede its right to defensible borders of a precondition for peace negotiation is not only an insult, it is proof positive of President Obama's contempt towards Israel, and it must be adamantly rejected. We must allow Israel to govern its own affairs and stop dictating to it where it can build settlement as it pursues peace in the region. And yet, my opponent, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, will look directly into the camera and tell you that there is absolutely no tension between President Obama and Prime Minister Netanyahu, or that we haven't effectively engaged in a reckless moral equivalence that puts Israel on equal standing with rogue regimes and terrorist-sponsoring organizations. Debbie has not signaled any disagreement at all with the President Obama's diplomatic rejection and humiliation of Israel, much less the President's concrete actions, which have marginalized our strategic relationship with Israel and needlessly endangered its national security.